Hey, welcome to ISO 27001, the lead auditor course. This is Mahesh Pandey, and here are some of the qualifications for you, as well as I have overall 23 years of experience and travel various countries, delivering services and training, consulting and services across various countries. Now, moving forward, in ISO 27000 course syllabus, we will be referring four standards. ISO 27001, which is standard, ISO 27000 overview and vocabulary, ISO 27002, where the controls implementation practice or the basically controls guideline are defined. What are the controls and how to implement the control? You have a guidelines given over there. 19011-2018, which we will be using the standard to audit the management system. So not only ISO 27001 standard, but any of the ISO 20 ISO standards like 22301 for business continuity, 9001 for quality, 45001 for organization health and safety, 14001 for environment safety, 20,000 for IT service line. So any of these standards when you are auditing, this 19011 standard you will be referring. Is that okay? I'll appreciate that you make two folders on your laptop. Okay, you create ISO 27001 lead auditor, and in that one is ISO 27000 LA exercises, and second one is the exam topics. So I'll be covering up exam likely questions or areas where you will be confident to write your ISO 27001 exam. So as objective is that what you have shared with me, that you would like to become a lead auditor. Of course, for that, you have to clear your examination as well. So I'll be concerned about that. Is that okay? ISO 20, yeah. So you can create the root folder, ISO 27001 lead auditor. In that, you can create ISO 27000 LA exercises. Okay. And the other, you can say create PPT with this exercises PPT as well as exam topics PPT. So presentation is regular. Okay. So this will help you. So you will be independent and you will be able to, of course, write your examination on your own without any hesitation. Now, I'm moving forward. ISO 27001-2013 is recently updated with ISO 27000-2020. You have there is minor changes in clauses. I repeat, there are minor changes in clauses. Now, what are those changes in clauses? What do you mean by clauses? How clauses forms a framework? That's what you should have first understanding, and then you will be able to understand how organization implement ISMS framework. Now, what is this correlation of standard framework? I'll help you understand. Now, ISO uses PDCA approach to define the framework requirement standard. I repeat, any requirement standard in ISO is based on PDCA framework. Yeah. So those who are matured, they know that if you have handled projects, have you handled projects? Okay. So what we have whether it is project or service management. So we use PDCA framework, plan, do, check, act. Okay, now, correct. So this framework is used by ISO in almost every standard. Yes, used to. Now we do not use any. It was there. Okay. Now we do not. Everywhere now, ITL also talk about DevOps. So our agile practices. ITL has released PDCA framework. It was there earlier in 2000. So earlier version of V3 had it. Now V4 you do not have any framework used for ITL. Now coming back, I said okay. Now you have ISO 27000 where controls are defined. Okay. Now these controls, earlier version you had 14 domains or sections, 35 control objectives, and 114 controls. That used to be really confusing for professionals and organization as well. Okay, what do you mean by a section? What do you mean by the 35 control objectives and as well as 114 control? Which control to accept, select, or reject, or rather we omit? So all that is used to be real confusion. What they have divided now, what they have come out with, ISO 20, ISO basically, that they have come out with the 4 themes. And these themes are divided into one is organization where there are 37 controls. People, you have 8 controls. Physical theme, you have 14 controls. And technology, you have 34 controls. Now, as we go ahead today, tomorrow, you will have a clarity about how these clause, that is ISO 27001 framework and the controls are mapped. Are we here to understand the mapping? I'll say how these two, we can say, standards are linked. That should be the right word. In general, professionals use this word mapping of ISO 27001 and 27002, which is not a right understanding. You need to have ISO 27001 clauses, forms a framework, and how these 27002 controls are linked with this framework. The link between 27001 and 2 is statement of applicability. Statement of applicability. Now, what do you mean by statement of applicability? We have not learned. We will be certainly getting into details of that. So that's how we will be initiating our discussion altogether. Before that, I have one of the professional. He has some query. Yes, Vikal, please go ahead. Vikal?
Hello. So yes, sir. So you mentioned something about the PDC something framework. I was not able to get the full form of that.
You can see here left hand side, which is clearly written: plan,
PDC.
do, check, act. Is that okay?
Okay, sir.
Now this framework, I'll brief about that framework. This framework, Edward Deming in 1922 has come out with this framework for improving the manufacturing practices. Okay, and of course the challenges to improve what this is generally used to call as the improvement framework. Okay, however, it has become so popular, almost like every framework like ISO, you can see PMI, Project Management Institute. Then you have the OGC, Organization of Government Commerce, have developed the ITIL. Okay. Now, intellectual property rights of ITIL is there with people, sir. So all that they have been using this framework, okay, yeah, as well as the Six Sigma, like define, measure, analyze, improve, control, demike. Okay. So they have been using this framework. ISO still continuing with that. ITIL has released and as so as the PMI. Now, every organization, they have been following the Agile and Scrum practices, then they are using that framework. Is that okay? Vikal? Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right. Yes. Sure.
Standards 27,001, 7,002. So, who decides on those framework and how it get updated?
I'll come back.
What are the criteria it gets?
We have all that understanding as a part of ISO history. So it is on the way to do. Okay. Now, moving forward with the syllabus. Hey, Satyapriya, do you have any questions so far?
Yeah. Good, Mahesh. If I anything, I will.
Appreciate that. Okay. And I'm sure you will be all confident as we go along. Thank you very much. Now, let's get into the syllabus part of it. ISO 27001 reloaded syllabus, which is based on these are areas where first we will have a good understanding about all these standards, which I did mention. 27,000 overview vocabulary. 1, where international standard requirements are defined. 2, where the controls guideline is there. 19011 2018, where you have the audit management, the guidance on the how to audit any of the management's framework that you have as a part of 1901. Next, you have the family of standard. That's really important. When I say family of ISO 27000 standard, okay, there is ISO 27000, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So till 7, we will be understanding. And each standard is divided into 4 categories. Now, what do you mean by 4 categories? There is overview vocabulary is one of the category. Guide, the requirement standard is second category. Guiding standard is third category. And the fourth one is the sector specific guidelines. So these are the 4 categories of each standard. I'll come back and I'll guide you on that. Is that okay? I'll guide you. So we'll briefly understand initially with what is the certification process for organization. When you know, because you are going to be learning lead auditor. So you need to be very careful about that. So there are terminologies after that we will be getting into it. And then the biggest takeaway is ISO 27001 implementation approach. Information security management system implementation approach. Now, when I say ISMS implementation approach, if you remove the word ISMS and think of only implementation approach, you may implement framework, standard, or any product or a service in your organization. This implementation approach will change your life. I hope you heard me right, loud and clear. This implementation approach will change your life. And I have seen that many of the professionals who have achieved various objectives based on this one implementation approach. And I will prove that as we go along. Because this is how, as you learn, you mature, you develop yourself based on the ISMS or rather implementation. We will be adding a flavor of ISMS because that is our interest. Our interest is not to deploy or migrate any application to a cloud, or neither we are selecting any supplier, or we are developing any delivery center. Neither we are acquiring any client. So you can have any implementation approach is what is a common which I have developed. This is not a part of syllabus. I have added for you to, of course, get some value out of this course. Okay. Next. Yes. Please. Good point. So, the question is why ISO 27000 is so popular and not others? That's the simplest question. Okay. What is happening? World has become flat. The reason for that, world has become flat, where you are sitting in Solomon or Nigeria. Okay, or you are in Kenya, and you want some services to offload to India. Example. Now you have to have a right partner who's following the information security best practices. Because what am I going to work with you? For example, you are in a bank, example, and you have your bank's sensitive information. You need to find, you may be getting some software development work done from India, or you may would like to outsource some consulting work. You may would like to, consulting can be in terms of, for example, you want to set up a business continuity practices. You want to have a disaster recovery tool to be used. Okay. You may have some kind of, we can say ServiceNow, of course, the application which you want to customize. There are many things that you will be looking, capabilities will be there with many organizations. But what if your client's sensitive information goes in wrong hands? So you will have a big threat. Isn't that true? So this is primary reason. My answer was that world has become flat. So we deliver services anywhere, anytime, anyone across the world. So what stops us is security practices. So that is one of the prime reason. That is one reason. Okay. Other reason, recently since 2018, 2017 rather. Okay. 25th April 2017, where you have GDPR has actually introduced by European Union. Since last 6 years, that the GDPR has become so as like a vital part of every organization delivering services in European Union. And irrespective of the country, you can see in the world today that we are working with European Union. We cannot say that we do not have any services we do deliver it for Europe. Large organization, mid-sized organization, they are by default working with European customers. So EU have developed the approved the regulation on GDPR. GDPR practices are more related to PII, personally identified information, or rather the citizens to protect the PII of their EU citizens. Now, when you as a third-party supplier working out of India or maybe Kenya, Solomon, anywhere in the world, you have to have basic information security practices in place to meet the requirements of GDPR. So 70 to 75% practices will be fulfilled with the ISO 27001 framework implementation. Since last 6 years, this has picked up like anything because of one of the reason is the privacy. And digitalization that we can see here, our information is like available everywhere, whether we accept or don't accept. There has to be control. And earlier it used to be like bank owns that, so bank has to be only sole accountable for that. But what about if your bank outsources for check processing, check printing processing, and then delivery of that? So ultimately your PII is out of bank, right? So how bank, earlier there was no control, that bank has to have a control on their suppliers as well. Getting my point? So this has become vital. However, if you think of 22301, since COVID, the 22301 business continuity practices have become like inevitable. It was not, I'm not saying it was not there. For large or mid-sized corporations, that was very obvious. For small-sized organizations where hardly anybody would have bothered about business continuity practices. Now they are also concerned about it. In terms of 14,000, where the environment safety, especially in the, I will say, the Eastern Africa, okay, or the Middle East altogether, where sandstorm comes like, is like in an hour or so, you will not even get to know. And think of oil and gas, the factories, where they have a huge pipelines and all. If the sand goes into that, it's going to be a mess, right? So they are going to completely stop the business. The business is going to come to a halt. It may cost them millions. You agree with me? Yeah. There, such standards plays a major role. But generic standard, ISO 27000, I have given justification. Various other, we can say, the domain specific standard, organizations accept and implement only based on the need. I hope all okay. Fantastic.
Institutions cannot own all the supply chain, then it would be easy for them to go with someone who already has.
Correct.
Understand.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Correct. Correct. Very true. So when we say organizations, you have implemented ISO 27000. You are concerned about data privacy, cyber security, and information. It indicates. And we are delivering services to you, and we are not 27000 certified. Okay. So there will always be, it's not that the outsourcing or consulting work or maybe development work, we will not get it done. But the amount of efforts for you to verify, okay, is going to be significant. So most of the organizations, what they do, they have a RFP criteria. They say that you should be ISO 27000 certified. So you are on the baseline is set. So we can talk to someone who can understand. Example, example. You are talking the Kenyan language and I'm talking English. We cannot talk to each other. We have to have a mediator. We have to have interpreter, mediator, someone, okay? It is difficult to work. Same here, when we are on the same page, things works really fast. Thank you. Now, as we move ahead, of course, there are types of the audits, first party, second party, third party. We'll be understanding that. What do you mean by that? Okay. In-depth understanding about ISO 27001, we will be doing it where there are 10 clauses, out of which 4 to 10 clauses are essential and 1, 2, 3 not required. In general, none of the organizations I have seen, they have been using that. We'll see what is that all about. Okay.
Which are the clauses not in use?
Yeah, I said 1 to 10 clauses are there. Okay. Essential are 4 to 10. Okay. Now, when we say ISO 27002, now you have 4 control sections, or that is called as themes, which we discussed. There are 37 organization controls. Next, you have as a part of the people 8, physical 14, and the last one is technology 34. Altogether 93 controls are there. We will not be focusing on the previous standard clauses and controls. Is that clear? From the ISO 27002. Earlier, those professionals who have done ISO 27001 2013, for them it is interesting area. But for you, you have not done it. Okay, there is no point of getting into ISO 27000 2013. It will be a waste. However, as a mentor, I have prepared the entire deck of what clauses are amended in ISO 27001 and what controls are excluded, okay, and what new controls are added, what duplicate controls have merged. I will give you that PDF. Is that clear? I hope you heard me loud and clear. What I said, that 27001, some clauses have been amended as the requirements have changed. Is that okay? 27002, there are 93 controls now, 11 new controls added. Some controls are omitted. Some controls are merged. And I have prepared a separate deck for that, which I will share for you to understand. Is that clear? However, our objective of training is not to get into ISO 27001 2013 clauses and controls. Is my statement clear? I hope your question is also answered. Okay, good. Now, this is what we will be doing today, tomorrow. And we will be understanding, we will be getting into the third day audit principles. First of all, audit terminology like audit, auditor, lead auditor, technical expert, guide, observer, audit evidence, audit criteria, risk, what is risk register, risk criteria. So we'll understand all these terminologies before we get into the principles. There are 7 principles of audit. Risk-based audit, deep professional care, evidence-based, fair presentation, integrity, independence, confidentiality. So there are 7 principles. What do you mean by principle? First, we'll understand that. And then how auditor should enable, okay, ensure that all these principles are followed. We will have that. We have all that. We are going to certainly learn that. So 7 principles we will learn. Is that okay? Now, as you understand, okay, these 7 principles, we will be getting into the detailed discussion on 6 different steps. What we call as audit execution program. Audit you will be able to conduct only when you know the subject. Is my statement clear? If today, tomorrow, I'll be helping you to prepare on subject. That is ISO 27000 International Standard Requirement and When you perform the risk on the requirements, risk assessment, and you will have to implement certain controls. These controls are a part of ISO 27002. When you know the subject, it is going to be really easy for you to conduct the audit. And that is where we will be coming to initiating the audit. As a initiating the audit, the certification body will never approach any auditee. That means certification body will be approached by auditee. For example, ABC company, they will be approaching certification body. Which certification body approach, why to approach, how to select, we'll come back on that. That is called as initiating the audit. Next, phase 1 audit. Each audit in management system is conducted in 2 phases. Phase 1, phase 2. Phase 1 is all about your international standard requirement verification by certification. That means you have thoroughly implemented ISO 27001 practices in your organization. Is my statement clear, everyone? Vikal? Siddharth?
Mahesh.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Satya?
Yes,
Sir,
Mahesh.
I have a question. I have read somewhere that, still, I guess in practice, it's 2013 clauses and, 2022 clauses are still, not in practice, I guess. Is it true?
Vikal, we need to first understand the difference between clauses and controls. Is that okay?
Yes.
The word, as of now, I will use the word, allow me to use that. You have a confusion on the word clauses and controls.
Okay.
Okay, so whatever is written on the net may be someone out of his immature understanding.
Okay. Okay.
I use the word immature understanding. Somebody has written the clauses like what you have read, that some clauses have been removed, some clauses are there. So we'll come back, and the right word is control. Why control? You will understand the meaning of control itself, and then we'll come back on ISO 27. Is that okay?
Okay. All
Huh?
right. All right.
Rest assured. Now, when I say phase 1, there may be 25 bare minimum requirements of international standard requirement documents. I hope you heard me. I will repeat. There may be some organizations, they have barely meeting international standard requirement. That's fine. However, some organizations say that we have 200 documents or 500 documents that has to be audited. Now, what do you mean by 200, 500 here? Now, there are maybe 25 bare minimum requirement of international standard requirement as any organization to go for audit. However, some organization, what they say, they come out with each area their own good practices. Like example, in your entire standard, there is no word called as data center. My statement is clear, right? I will prove that. There is no word called as data center. But tell me that, do you not have the data center guidelines? You have it. Now, what does that means? Your organization have additionally prepared some document that is required for the effectiveness and efficiency of information security management system. You are saying, I'm listening. I will not comment and respond immediately on that. I'm okay with what you said. Okay. What we call as, now we will say BCP, one of the document. Okay. I will not say the guideline, data center guidelines is not a BCP. Okay. Example, I'll take your own example, BCP. Or you have a business continuity plan for your to avoid any disaster situation, and you have a control for that as well. Okay, that is a technological control. You have organization control, you have it. However, how to review business continuity plan? There is no such requirement. of international standard document. Do you get my point? Now, will you not review your business continuity plan, Satyapriya? Satyapriya,
Yeah.
will you not review your business continuity plan, business continuity strategy on a periodic basis?
Yeah, we'll do. While
You
testing.
will. You will, correct?
Yeah,
Now,
definitely will.
these are
Because
all additional documents. Now, what happens? Organization will give you a set of such additional documents, which you will have to, as an auditor, test that as well. So your audit number of days or audit man days changes organization to organization based on their information security management system international standard requirement and as well as additional documents prepared by organization for the effectiveness of license. If you get a question in interview that why ISO 27001 documents requirement changes organization to organization. So answer is this. Requirement changes organization to organization are different from each organization. The answer is simple. One, you have international specific requirement documents and the additional documents prepared by organization for the effectiveness of ISOs. As I promised you that I will be helping you to prepare interview questions. Okay. And this is one of that. So there will be a lot of such questions that you will be, they are on the way to you. Okay. In this session and be ready for that. So as your activeness is so important. Is that clear? Your activeness is important. If you are stuck up with your personal work during this training, you will be in loss. So you will have to be careful with that. So I will not be stressing. I did mention that I'm not here to test anybody's knowledge and skills. So please be careful with that. Okay, good. Now, next is the on-site or maybe online. Earlier, before COVID, online audit was not permitted. Since COVID, okay, they have permitted online audits as well. So hence, I have written there on-site audit activities. I have taken an approach of audit, okay, that is on-site. So where we will have to plan for phase 2. The planning is where we need to have audit plan, audit checklist, as well as the preparing audit test cases. The difference between phase 1 and phase 2 is phase 1 is all about the international standard requirement documents verification. Is my statement clear? Satya? Satya?
Yes, Mangesh. I'm.
Phase 1 is international standard requirement document verification. When we say phase 2, phase 2 is very clear. Is all about whatever you have said as a part of scope, statement of applicability. We as auditors coming from certification body and we will be testing that you are following your own practices. You are following your own practices. I will not, as an auditor, with respect to ISO 27001, we will not be going beyond the statement of applicability. I will not be bringing my experience and I will start mentoring you or guiding you, consulting you during the international standard requirement audit. Is my statement clear? So phase 2 is all about applicability testing. Yes, we have JP. He has a question. Now, part 2 is all about part 2 or phase 2. You read it part 1, part 2. I'll come back. Phase 2, we discuss this is applicability testing. Is that okay? Phase 1, part 1 is preparation. Before I go on site, I cannot come with a blank laptop. Okay, that means I have only softwares installed. I do not have templates. I do not have audit plan. I do not have audit checklist. I do not have your own documents. So I need to have all that preparation. That is what we call as phase 2 part 1. Phase 2 part 2 is actual audit, that activities. That means I'm going to test it. Is that okay? And we have nothing to do with internal external audit. With this, I'll come back to that. And I did say about internal external audit is there. So that is out of scope. We'll come back as of now. We'll finish the introduction. You can make a note of that. In our case, I'll come back. Now, so communication. Now, what happens is that I'll show you one image so as you will understand that. Okay, here, audit, that is service provider, my friends. The service provider is approaching certification for audit. Do you agree with me? I do not know what is your organization structure, processes, policies, and everything. Okay, you are going to give it to me. Okay, with the certification body. You have prepared SOA, you have implemented ISMS. How you have implemented, I have nothing to do about it. Is my statement clear? So my job is to verify all international standard requirements are meeting, and 2, you are following. I am going to collect the evidences and conduct the audit based on audit criteria. So that is what is altogether audit is all about. Now I'll go back and just show you what was our discussion. But how, when we say during that phase 1 and phase 2, here we are talking about phase 2, but in both cases, how actually communication flows between auditee and certification body. And you must be clear on that as well. And I'll help you with all these practices. Okay. So next is, as we are done with the audit, or we have conducted the audit, we'll have to prepare non-conformity report. If you find, now how to prepare that non-conformity report? Before that, we have many other activities, we'll be taking it up. And this non-conformity report, you will be presenting. I'm using very careful words, so I do not want to get into a distracted discussion. So as you should be clear, and my students should use the right words in front of the interviewer as well as in your organization. You should have 100% clarity on this, where you are a part of certification body. Is my statement clear? You are coming from a certification body to an auditor. You will not be sharing report with the auditing. You will be sharing report with certification body's seasoned person or maybe master lead auditor. Is that clear? Unless the quality review is completed, certification body will not share that status of the audit with auditee. Hence, my statement was very clear that when we are closing the audit, I'll be presenting audit findings with the top management and the stakeholders of auditing. Is that statement clear, Vikal? Satya?
Yes, Mahesh.
Okay, great.
Okay.
We will have it. Any non-conformities, any international standard requirement not meeting, non-conformity. We need to understand what do you mean by international standard requirement. Okay, we'll come back for sure. Now there is a difference between non-conformity and non-compliance. Generally, we, as I said initially, that we mature with some words and we pick up those words, we continue with those words and we keep using the words where we want as a wish, but that is not right. Some people fall on their face when it comes to the interviews. Interviewer is very, very careful. Interviewer is very, very particular, very careful, and I'll guide each word. This is one of that I have responded. Non-fulfillment of the requirement is non-conformity. Now question comes up, what is the requirement? We are yet to learn. Okay. Now, as you are presented, okay, you as a member from certification body, a lead auditor, you are not supposed to be sharing that you are certified, not certified. Because what is happening here, this is like an integrity breach. And audit, one of the principles I said integrity. You have to maintain that. You have to present, but not to share. You are not a decision maker. You are a representative of certification body. You will share the entire report with master leader, example I said, or someone who is seasoned at certification body. And then once the organization, there is audit conclusions and these beyond the initial audit, what we called as surveillance audit. What we call as after you, this is called as full audit. What do you mean by full audit? What do you mean by surveillance, audit or partial audit? We will understand. Okay. Next, while we are going through this training, my friends, we will have some exercises. And I want you to participate in the exercises. Is that okay? So that will help you to prepare your own international standard requirement and thoroughly conduct the audit. You do not need to be dependent on Google or ChatGPT to pull out the requirements. Google or ChatGPT may give you that international standard requirement, but what is that requirement? You will have no sense. And I'm here to build the thorough knowledge based on that. I'm going to make you judgmental. During the training, you will see that when we are going to go for audit, I will be making you judgmental throughout 4 days. Finally,
So could you please explain that auditing part again, like that example?
Can you please loudly repeat your question?
So could you please explain that auditing example again?
Auditee is what?
The example you gave, like who is the auditee, who is the client. Actually,
Correct.
there was some voice glitch, I guess, so I was not able
Okay. I'll come back for sure again on that. Rest assured on that. Okay. Auditee, I'll give you the definition on that. Okay. So auditee is an organization undergoing the audit. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, may this be this auditee, one more important note. When we will understand the 4.3 out of clause that says the scope for ISMS for that particular organization. ISMS scope for the audit. Now, the respective organization defines the scope. You may have 10 locations, 20 locations where facilities. And you want to go only for 2 physical locations. Or you want to go for only 2 locations with some departments, some business units, or some products and services, not all. That all depends on organization. So the definition of auditee can change based on that. So definition can be organization as a whole or a part of organization undergoing audit. Vikal, response is clear?
Yes, sir.
And when we say certification body, my friend, certification body is an independent body. They are no way associated with any auditing. Is that clear? Certification body, example TUV, BSI, DNV, BVQI, PECB. There are various certification bodies. They are no way associated with company called as IE Vision IT Services Private. I do not have any mutual contract agreement with them. Is my statement clear? So as they are independent, they do not have any stake in this auditing. They are coming separately. Who's inviting them? Auditing. How they will invite, how they will assess, we will certainly learn that. Okay. Vikal, Siddharth,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Satya, everyone is clear on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all set. So I'll go back where we were discussing and we will actually get going in the syllabus. While we are going through, as I said, we will have some exercise and you will have to take part of it. This will certainly help you to build your right understanding about the clauses, controls, then the audit practices, conducting the audit, presenting the audit, reporting, everything that you will be clear on that. One more biggest takeaway out of this session is you do not need to look at Google for not only the international standard requirement documents list, also templates. I repeat, also templates. Templates generally for risk register. One, audit plan, audit checklist, non-conformity draft, okay, audit presentation. These are templates we generally look for, right? Okay, so this is like a, as you go with any of this management training, they will not give you any kind of templates. I will help you to build the templates as well during this training. So this is, and along with that, not after this, the value addition, I will have you take through the examination likely questions. I will prepare you on that and you will write these exam questions as based on, of course, your overall learning, and you will clear your exam. If at all someone flunk in first attempt, you have a second attempt free. I hope you heard me loud and clear. 99% you will not fail. But the way you will write the responses, as you know it very well, you are trained, you are guided how to write responses. But if you make mistakes, simple mistakes in non-conformity report, they expect you to write one statement, this is a non-conformity example. Now, this is an introduction session. We are yet to get into non-conformity. Last fourth day, we are going to learn that. But I'm guiding you right now as an example. Since today, okay. During the exam, you forget. Student forget to write. This is a non-conformity. And you are writing the non-conformity report. And you are not writing over there as a statement. It is expected. I'll guide you again there when we will come to fourth day. Okay. And there they will take out your 2 marks. And student complain that I am failed for some. Now these mistakes are very minor mistakes. There are 10 MCQ questions. Very simple MCQ questions. Example, there are total multiple choice questions. You will have to have a single answer. You will write that or respond. For example, there are total, how many controls are there in ISO 27002? 93 controls. Okay. Total new controls, 11. So these 2 questions by default may come up in exam. I said may come up. And if we are not focused during the training, no one can do it. Is that okay? I wish you all the best for the entire course. And I'm sure all of you, you will get certified in with this course. One more important note for all of you. One more important note for all of you. When you will be writing your exam, end of the exam, you will have left-hand side, you can see submit my, of course, final exam. Okay, submit my answers like this. You will have an option. Once you submit that, you should receive thank you for submitting exam. Is that clear? You should receive this. If this has not come to you, that means either you had internet issues, okay, one, or you may be disconnected at all. In that case, you will have to rewrite the exam same day. In that case, you will have to rewrite the exam same day. So you will have to be careful with that. Now, your result will come in 30 days. Your result will come in 30 days from the day you will be writing the exam. Okay, that is one. Now, once you get the result, I repeat, once you get the result, you will have, okay, you will have your certificate available in 15 days. Is that clear? After you getting the result, certificate available in 15 days. And after total 3 months, you can validate your certificate from TUV website, TUV Sud website. Is that clear? You do not need to call and follow up with anyone unless there is a delay on this itself. Now, this is not in iVision's control. Is that okay? So we will certainly escalate and we will support you on that. My team will do that job for you 100%. That you rest assured. Is that clear? Now, if at all somebody fail, okay, so as you have a second attempt free. Is that clear? But this should not come to you as you are prepared the way that you will be prepared. That is one. If at all this happens, same process is followed for this as well, for second attempt. You can write the second attempt maybe within that 7 days, or second attempt is expected to write in 60 days. Is that clear? After that, if someone comes and says that I want to write second attempt, they will charge you full exam fees. Is my statement clear? If at all somebody flunk for some reason, whatever is that, you will have 60 days to rewrite your exam. Is that clear? Is that clear? And if you do not write in that 60 days, you will have the full exam fees has to be repaid. That we have to be careful. So this is, but this is in general, I have seen none of the candidate have actually come to this situation. I repeat, none of the candidate. I have trained thousands of candidates. None of the candidates have come to this situation. I'm sure all your doubts related to the syllabus, examination. Now we'll come to the exam part of it. Okay. You will have, yes, I'll come back. So you will have 4 sections for exam. Okay. You will have 4 sections for exam. Section 1, as I said, you will have multiple choice questions. You will have to select only one answer for each question. Section 2, you will have 5 marks each, 4 questions, 20. Then section 3 has 10 marks, 2 questions, 20. And section 4 has 3 non-conformity report writing and drafting questions. So thus you have 80 marks question and you have to get 70% out of this to clear your exam. Okay? Is that okay? So I am confident each one of you will easily achieve this. However, I generally say this is a management certification. What matters, pass or fail? Is that clear? This matters a lot. However, your percentage of marks does not matter. And you need to keep this rule with you throughout your life as long as you are writing certifications. I repeat, as long as you are writing certifications. Now, the meaning to that here is that if you get somebody gets 70% and somebody get 89%, for example, okay, for me is one and the same. Because on certificate, it is not at all mentioned your percentage of marks scored. Is my statement clear? Is that okay? And you should be absolutely clear on that. What is matters? This. Is that okay? Okay. So I'll go back and I have JP. He has some question. Yes, JP. Which slide? This is the first. Syllabus one? You on syllabus? Okay. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. So